Hey everyone. Okay, I'm going to show you two different ways that we can multiply decimals together. So let's just go ahead and start. So let's pretend maybe we have to go get some gas and we only have maybe $40 in our pocket, and we need to make sure that we do not go over that money or that amount when we gas up with some fuel. So let's say that gas is $2 and 82 cents per gallon of gas. And let's say that we need 12 and a half gallons of gas because we're almost out. Okay, so I would be able to find out how much money I owe at the end of my time at the gas pump if I multiply these two numbers together. So 2 and 82 hundredths times 12 and 5 tenths will let me know how much money I owe. So I'm going to show you how to do stacked multiplication and then lattice multiplication as well. So I think a big part of math is just figuring out what strategy works best for you, because there's different ways to divide, add, subtract, multiply. So finding what works for you and adding that to your tool belt will really help you in your journey. So let's go ahead and stack these up. So the first step here is to get rid of decimals. We will add them back at the end. So let's do 282 times 125. And we line them up like we would normally. Like if you get rid of the decimals and pretend your last digit is in the ones place, that's how I want you to line it up. So now we just multiply like normal. And if you are used to this way, this should be come back to you. So we start here in the ones and our bottom number here. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down my 0, carry my 1. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 1 more is 41. Put down my 1, carry my 4. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4 more is 14. Put down my 4, carry my 1, and that just gets brought down because there's nothing over here to multiply my 5 with. So our first digit is done. So I'm going to erase, and now we're going to work with our 2, which is in the tens place. And so we need to put a placeholder in to signify that this is a 20, not a 2. So now I can multiply as if it were a 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 8 is 16. Put down my 6, carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5, and I'm done. Okay, I'm kind of running out of room. So I'm going to try to sneak it in here. Okay, now we reset because we'll do our last and final number of 1. There. All right, so our last deal. We need to put our placeholders in since this 1 is in the hundreds place. So we put 0, 0, and then our next number will start with a 1, or in the hundreds place value. So 1 times 2 is 2. See, that's 200. 1 times 8 is 8. And then 2 times 1 is 2. I'm sorry, it's getting really small. I'll rewrite it over here. Okay, not the neatest, but it'll do. So now our next step here is just to add all of these totals up together. Basically what we did was we just broke down this bottom piece into 3 separate problems. So we did 5 times basically 5 times 282, 2 times 282, and 1 times 282, as you can kind of see at the bottom there. So let's just go ahead and add these up. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 2 more is 12. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 1 left over. Bring that down, add it to your 2, which makes it 3. So now, here is sometimes the tricky part. So our second step, we multiplied. What did I spell? And now we're going to add our decimals back in. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we actually just have to count the amount of digits that are to the right of our place or our decimal point. So here's our decimal point, and I have 1, 2 digits here, and here's another digit. So within your whole equation here, just count how many digits are to the right of your decimal point. Once you know that, let's imagine our decimal point down here. Oops, wrong color. So technically, that is our total, 35,250. But we need to add back our decimal points. So what we do is we actually move our decimal point three places to the left because of our 3 digits that are to the right of our decimal point. So we have 1, 2, 3. So my total is $35.25. That is what I owe. So I'm gonna have $4.75 to maybe go buy some candy inside the gas station. All right, so that is one way to solve this problem. Sometimes people might find it tricky to remember to add the place value zeros and to carry, you know, all these extras that might pop up. It's a little more hard or more challenging to double check your work. You'd kind of have to start back over. So that is what I like about lattice multiplication, which I'll show you next. I'll keep our answer. And I'll leave, let's be careful here. Okay, so in lattice multiplication, you basically just make an array, as in like the little, the rows and columns that we've used before to understand multiplication. So for instance, look at how many digits are in your number. We have 3 here and 3 here. So we need to make a 3 by 3 array. Now, this will become easier with time if you choose to practice this a little more. Just make 3 rows, or I'm making 3 columns right now, and I need to make 3 rows as well. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now I just take from corner, I just trace a line from corner to corner and a little bit out. And you'll see why I do this. Like I said, it's not going to be perfect. Oh. Okay, now I'm done. All right, so now I just plug in my numbers. 2 and 82 hundredths. Make sure that each number gets its own cube space, and then the decimal point will land on a straight line. And then we have 12 and 5/10. Okay, there we go. Now I am ready to go. So what's really cool about this is wherever the numbers meet up together, you just multiply them both and put it into the grid. So we have 2 and 1 in here. It doesn't matter where you start, by the way. You can start wherever you want. And 2 times 1 is 2. So you can choose to put nothing here, as this represents the tens place. Anything above the diagonal is the tens, and anything right below it in the specific cube is a ones. So if you're looking at a single cube here, above is the tens and below is the ones place. Okay, so I just can put down, I like to put in my zeros 0, 2, and 8. Let's look at this one. 8 times 1 oops, is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. Woof, I already got one row done. Now I go down here. 2 times 2 is 4. 8 times 2 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4. Now 2 times 5, see how they walk kind of, I'll highlight it. I know, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see. Okay, 2 times 5, see how like the numbers overlap right there? They just kind of, if they were to walk and meet in a square, that's where you multiply them together. Sometimes you just have to watch to understand. 8 times 5 is 40, and 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, here we go. So now all we have to do is add the numbers within the columns, or not within the, sorry, between the diagonal slashes here. So for instance, we'll add these numbers together, and then we'll put our answer down here. So let's do that. 0, you just bring that down. 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 plus 6 is 8. Plus 4 more is 12. You don't just put 12. You regroup like you normally would. You would just bring up your 1 to the next column and add it. Okay. 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus 1 more is 6. Plus 8 more is 14. Plus 1 more is 15. Carry my 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay. Now it's kind of looking like this, except we haven't dealt with the decimal points yet. Okay, so these decimal points, they will be following these straight lines until they meet like the other numbers. So they're meeting right here. And now they're just gonna slide down on the diagonal that they meet on, and they're gonna land right here. So the decimal, oops, wrong color or wrong tool. Our answer is $35.25. I don't need to put my 0. Anything, any 0 that comes after a digit that doesn't have another digit 1 through 9, you can disregard it because it amounts to nothing. But if it's like 5 cents versus 25 cents, please include it because that tells us that it's 5/100ths versus 5/10ths. Otherwise we would not know its value. So anyway, that is lattice multiplication. I know it's a process to draw it, but it might be easier for you to, it's just like a little straightforward. I think, anyway. I like how I can go back and double check if I got the wrong answer here. If I were to double check with my calculator and realize maybe I did something wrong, I can easily go back in my little squares here and double check, which is really nice to do. So there you have it. This is how you can multiply your decimals together. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you. Bye.